two things to keep in mind is regulatory frameworks should firstly entrench a risk-based approach. I think it's paramount for regulatory systems to be built on the fact that institutions need to manage risk. There are many different risks that institutions need to manage, and in the payment space, most of those materialize upstream or downstream before the actual payments happen. And that's, I think, also where a lot of the focus on managing risk needs to be placed in the way that regulatory systems phrase obligations for institutions. And to be able to focus on those areas before payments actually are initiated, when customers are onboarded, or when cash is dispensed from a system, etc. The other aspect is, I think, for regulatory systems to be framed as outcomes that need to be achieved.
Right.
In other words, explaining what it is that institutions need to do when we expect them to manage risks, rather than how they should do that. It's when regulatory system starts getting into the how-to that we run into serious problems, that we create anomalies that institutions cannot meet. And that's especially where we then get in the way of access to financial services, and where we actually make it impossible for institutions to do business with people that have absolutely no crime risk, and that are underserved in other senses in our financial system.
So, Peter, you highlight two key design features. You talk about a risk-based approach that enables us to go to work and look for risk upstream and downstream. You talk about an outcomes-based approach, so that we're really able to have the nuance of distinguishing between those who could be a risk and those who don't. So let me build on that, Josephat, and bring that particular design imperative or features that Peter has spoken about and say, how does that stack up compared to what you were seeing in the Zimbabwean Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe? When you think about specific regulatory measures that you've put in place, how have you ensured that on the one hand, they are addressing the security concerns, but on the other hand, they're still enabling access to financial services?
I must say that payment systems has always been about managing risk.
Yeah.
When you are developing payment systems, you need to ensure that they have a comprehensive risk management framework. And later on in the years, it was always operational risk as the major one, and the major risks we all know, liquidity, credit, and everything. But later on, we began to see cybersecurity coming as a risk as well. And then we had to build up on our regulation to add a cybersecurity layer.
Yeah.
And naturally now, we have seen AML CFT coming to the boardroom again, and very strongly. And we have also been given in Zimbabwe a mandate to be a competent AML CFT supervisor.
Yeah.
So if I can just go back, why were we given this mandate? We had gone into the grey list twice.
Sure.
And we had come out. And in the last coming out of from the grey list, we, as payment systems, contributed quite well as we showed the assessors that most of our payments are digital, and it became a coping mechanism to manage AML CFT. So after that, our AML CFT law in the country allows designation of certain institutions with expertise to manage particular risks. So in the Reserve Bank, I'm one of the regulators of AML CFT. But balancing the two, the trade-off, is always difficult. But what I must say is that safety has always been one of our objectives in the payment space.
Yeah.
But it's only that it's expanded mandate. So we have two mandates in the bank in terms of supervision and oversight. We are the overseer of the payment system. That's one from the regulation. Now we have the AML CFT supervision. So we had then to tune ourselves to that organizational structure. That's what we had to do. Not easy. Any of us here would know mandate comes first and the resources comes last. You are lucky if you get the resources before you leave.
We have made huge progress with regard to the exchange control relaxation in South Africa.
Yeah.
In order to promote cross-border payments, investments, and trade. So the idea is to say, when economic participants, individual corporates and institutional investors, when they interact cross-border, they must not feel the impact of exchange controls or restrictions. So it must be, the idea is that it must just be seamless, so that's the main aim. So the minister then gave us precondition to say, you can liberalize, but I want the following. I need to ensure that you don't lose the information. There's a lot of information that you get from applications. That information cannot be lost. Two, you must make sure that you strengthen the fight against illicit flows.
Yes.
So that is very cardinal. So whatever we do, we must ensure that the fight against illicit flow is strengthened. And the third one that is very, very important, ensure that we do away with the red tapes. This understanding that there are red tapes within the systems, and those red tapes must be done. So how do we put it in practice ourselves as a department? We started at the beginning. We said, when we appoint people, when we appoint entities, what type of entities are we bringing to the system?
Right.
Are they fit and proper? What type of people that are in charge of the system? So we are very vigorous in terms of our vetting process. And you find that in the past we've even closed some of the entities that were not doing what we think they are supposed to do. We even withdraw some license on some of them. So that is very, very important for us. The other issues, I think the Deputy Governor mentioned the issue of technology. We embrace that.
Sure.
We started cross-border reporting online in terms of the system before it became fashionable. Everybody now talk of cross-border reporting system. We started that long time ago. We went internationally. There was nobody who had a cross-border system that report everything real time to the Reserve Bank. So we were the pathfinder in that respect. So we developed the cross-border reporting system. All transactions are reported to us, and we are able to analyze and detect. And and we have rolled this, and together with the CMA, this reporting system has been rolled out to the whole region of the CMA, which means that you cannot run away. When you go to Eswatini, you go to Namibia, it's still going to be reported. So that is very, very important. But we are even want to go a step further to say we want to jack it up so that it's proactive. Currently it's reactive. So I can flag you with one of the bank, then you can go and do transfer to another bank. So we want to develop a system that if we flag you, wherever you go, they will say refer to SAP. So that's where we are going. So it's very, very important. And we're also developing a system that currently must be able to talk with our revenue service.